Thank you very much, Madam Clerk and Deputy Clerk. Welcome everyone to our special council meeting here for the Township of Clearview. This is a planning public meeting for July the 29th, 2026. It is 5:30 p.m. on said date. So we do have an agenda for today's meeting. All members of council are present. We have members of our staff present, and we have some people in the audience as well. So item 1 is our approval of the agenda. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated July 29, 2026 as presented. Mr. Walker, Mr. Broderick, thank you so much. Any questions on today's agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? Carries unanimous. Thank you. At this time, Council, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof for the content of this meeting? If anything, nothing seen? Okay, if anything comes up, please bring it forward. We'll deal with it as quickly as we possibly can. And at this time, Council, we're going to move to the purpose of this meeting, which is item 3, the public meeting. There is a zoning bylaw amendment, and as always, our public meetings, I like to pass the chair over to our Deputy Mayor. So Deputy Mayor Van Staveren, you can take the chair for the next portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Your Worship, and we will now initiate the public meeting portion of tonight's agenda. We invite you to comment on the application being presented tonight and to engage in the process with us. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Township of Clearview on an application being discussed this evening, please complete a public delegation form. Please submit the form to the Deputy Clerk, right over there. Thank you. The views expressed in the public comments are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of the Township, its agents, or its employees. It is not possible for the Township to verify the accuracy of all information provided by the members of the public. The Township therefore assumes no responsibility for any inaccurate information that may be contained within the public comments. If you have information that might correct, clarify, or refute any statement contained within the public comments, please forward to the Township Planning Department. Please be advised that your comments or requests to be notified will form part of the public record. Your communication, any personal information therein will be made available to the public unless you expressly request its removal. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Clearview to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Clearview before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the Tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. The following public meeting will involve a brief presentation by our planning staff, an opportunity for the applicant for their agent to present their application, a period for public comments or questions, and an opportunity for questions by the Planning Committee. So, at this time, we will now begin the public meeting with respect to item 3.1, zoning bylaw amendment for file 2026-022. Applicant is McPherson Builders Limited, and it's regarding the Estates of Clearview draft plan of subdivision. The planning staff will now start with a brief presentation concerning the application. So, Rosalind, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chair Van Staveren. And tonight we're here for a public meeting for a zoning bylaw application, and the file is 2026-022, and it's the Estates of Clearview draft plan of subdivision. Next slide. So the subject lands are shown in the hatched out black and crossed out area there. They are located in the east part of Stainer, and they are abutted by County Road 7 and Highway 26. Next slide. The purpose of the application tonight is to rezone a portion of the subject lands, which is currently zoned residential multiple low density exception hold, or RS3-4H12. And it will zone it to residential multiple medium density exception hold and institutional. So RS3-4 and institutional, and both zones will continue to have a hold 12 zone, symbol, hold symbol on it. And then the second zone will be residential multiple medium density exception hold RS5-XH12. Further, the purpose is that the RS5X zone seeks to look for the following site-specific exceptions. Looks to reduce the minimum lot area to 190 meters squared per residential unit, to increase maximum lot coverage to 60%, minimum lot front yard setback to 6 meters, minimum interior side yard of 5.5 meters, minimum interior side yard to 1.5. A shared entryway would be permitted for the principal and accessory dwelling units, and it seeks to permit yard encroachments, porches up to 3 meters into the front yard, porch steps, a minimum of 1.5 meters from the front yard, deck steps, a minimum of 2 meters from the rear yard, and one parking space per accessory residential unit, and which would be permitted in an off-site common parking area. No driveway setback is required from an interior side lot line, which would be located on a shared wall of a building, and that section 2.15.4 does not apply. The effect of the application is to facilitate a concurrent draft plan of subdivision red line revision application, which seeks to reconfigure a portion of the existing draft plan of subdivision to include the following: 8 townhouse blocks consisting of a total of 54 freehold condominium units, including 35 units with accessory residential units, or ARUs, a common parking block for the ARUs parking area, a new school block shared with the development to the north, and minor changes to the existing lot fabric of the 26 single detached dwelling lots. The next slides just show the surrounding land uses. The subject lands are shown in the bolded black line, and to the north is an existing draft plan residential subdivision, so Clearview Park draft plan. To the east is County Road 7 and agricultural lands. To the south is Highway 26 and the emergency hub building, as well as residential and commercial uses. To the west is the Mowat Street North and residential lands. And the current land use is that the subject lands are current, the land subject to the current zoning application are located within the undeveloped portion of the existing estates of Clearview draft plan of subdivision. Next slide. Planning policy. So the official plan designation is residential, and the current zoning is residential multiple low density exception hold, RS3-4, hold 12. Submission items to support the application included a cover letter, a planning justification report, a draft plan of subdivision, redlined, a site servicing concept, a servicing and stormwater management memorandum, redline draft plan, and the redline draft plan transportation review. All of these items have been located on the website for public and anyone to review. Next slide. Notice in circulation. Notice of the subject application has been given in accordance with the Planning Act on July 8th, 2026, and that was done through mailing, circulating paper notice to within 120 meters of the subject lands, as well as posting of signage on the property. Details of this application and supporting materials have been made available to the public on the website and have been circulated to the relevant commenting agencies. And then public comments. If comments have been received, they were part of the published agenda, and any other comments that were received after the publishing of this agenda will be included as part of our recommendation report. Just to sort of look at where we are in the process, so the applications were received on June 1st of 2026. They were deemed complete June 12th of 2026. Notice of the public meeting was given July 8th of 2026. We're here at the public meeting. And then there's two other steps, which are a recommendation report and a notice of decision, which are to be determined at this time. As you will note, I am filling in for Nick Ainley, who is the community planner who's working on this file, and he would welcome any additional comments or questions. Well, he can't answer any questions, but I can certainly be here for that, so thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. We'll get back to you when the time comes. How's that? Mr. Higgins, I believe you're doing a presentation as well tonight? Thank you. Yes, the floor is yours.
That work? Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. I'll try to be reasonably quick and leave time for any questions anyone might have. So Rosalind has gone into the technical details of what we're asking for. I'll give you a bit of color on why we're doing this. Next slide, please. So just to orient you again, this is the yellow line is our original land holding, and as you saw from the other maps, we've developed about 200 homes on the west side, single-family homes on the west side of the site, the Jarlette site, which is a long-term care facility, and the new plaza. Next slide, please. So there's, you can see where phase 1 was, which was about 75 single-family units. Phase 2 had 119 single-family units, and Jarlette built their site on our lands, and then we developed the commercial plaza with the Foodland, Dollar M, LCBO, and McDonald's. Next slide. I'm sure nobody noticed, we recently put traffic lights in. Out on Highway 26. I proudly used the left turn signal to the arrow going in. Yeah, grab something at McDonald's on the way over here. So those are finally up and running, and everyone's using it as an access. The works on Mowat Street North have just been started. That's blocked off right now. I just went and had a look before I came over. And those are now going to move apace to get at least the northerly 2/3, 3/4 of Mowat Street there brought up to an urban standard. Probably take us the next 3 months, so probably August, September. I think we have an October completion date. So we'll have curbs, sidewalks, asphalt, the whole bit in there, and clean up that part of Mowat Street. Next slide, please. This is the area subject of the bylaw, and I'll just move to the next slide, which gives a little more detail. This portion here shows where the changes are. So I'll start on the right-hand side, actually, it's the school block site. So as many members of council and staff are aware, we've been talking to the Public School Board for years, 7-8 years, about locating a new elementary school in the Nottawasaga Station subdivision and adjacent to it. And after a lot of back and forth and movement of the block, we finally came into an agreement with the Public School Board on this location. What you see there is a block of about 1.85 hectares, which is 4.5 acres in my language. There's an additional 1.5 acres plus, I believe, to the north, contiguous to this block. So the entire site is a little over 6 acres. So 3/4 of it is on our site, and the remaining quarter is on the landowner to the north site. What we have on here is you can see the underlying lot fabric that we originally had there. The zoning we've asked for would permit both uses. It would allow the school site, but also maintain the zoning, the ability for the single-family lots. And the reason for that is in the event that the school board never steps up to buy the site or has a change of plans or wants to put it somewhere else, it'll allow us to finish this off and build those lots. That is not our hope. We'd like to have the school there. And in the case that the school is built, you'll have that new configuration of the roads on the right half on there. On the left-hand side is the area that involves the single-family lots and the new townhomes. The only change to the single-family lots, and I don't think we've asked for a zoning change on that, no. But in the red line draft plan application, we just played around with the lots to true up some of the sites. We actually made a couple of the lots bigger, so it fits our existing single-family product. No real change in unit count, just shifting some side lot lines to make it fit our product. And the interesting piece here is the piece in the middle. So if I could go to the next slide. No, not that. That's just a picture of the areas being rezoned. No, sorry, we'll just keep going. One more and one more. And that's been covered by Rosalind, so we'll go here. So this is the meat of what we're trying to do. And I'll explain a bit of the economics on the site and what's happened over the last 4 or 5 years. So through the pandemic, obviously, everything was selling like hotcakes. We had single-family homes in our first 2 phases. After the market topped out in April of 22, the market, as everyone knows, has declined. Prices are down in this area, in this subdivision, about 30%. From the peak prices, the peak being April of 22. So a house that would have sold for $950 back at the top of the pandemic is selling for in the low 7s now on the resale market, the ones that our purchasers have chosen to bring to the market. And as a result of what's going on in the economy, all the uncertainty in the world, the rise in interest rates, and the general decline in demand because of a lack of a pandemic, people are finding it difficult to afford homes. And we're finding this not just in Stayner and Clearview Township, but across the board. We're building in St. Thomas and in other areas as well. It's the exact same story everywhere. People are trying to get down to a price point where they can afford to buy real estate. In addition, there's an affordability issue for working people's houses. For example, the people who would work in the long-term care center, the McDonald's, the Foodland, difficult to achieve even a $700,000 house. It's a lot of money. So what we've come up with here and in other municipalities is what we believe is a solution, and that is in the first instance, downsone to, or zone up, I guess, to townhouses, and secondly, to introduce additional residential units. So we'll move on in a minute to the next slide, but this gives you a good shot of that chunk of land that is bordered on the north by Prescott and on the south by Mackenzie Drive. They're parallel streets. The gold-colored or yellow-colored blocks contain ARUs, or additional residential units, and those are units in the basement. These units will be freehold, fronting on a public road, either Prescott or Mackenzie, but they will also contain this unit underneath, which will be a fully contained residential dwelling, which will be owned by the owner of the unit and could be rented out to a third party, could be used for an in-law suite, for a grown child, or what have you. Or it could be rented to people who work at the Jarlette site, at the Foodland, at the McDonald's, or wherever. It's within a short walking distance of all those facilities there. So I'll come back to the parking lot, but I want to go to this slide here. We are actually building these units in St. Thomas, Ontario right now. We're 90% done, they're clad, they're drywalled, they're painted. We're just put finishing touches on. We found a few kinks that we've worked out in St. Thomas on the floor plans, but the main feature of these is they are truly self-contained, easily accessible units. If we could go to the next slide. To give you an overview, those are 3 plans, and the left-hand one is the basement. You don't have to be able to read the room, what's in the rooms, because there's a larger picture in a minute. The one on the left-hand side is the basement, the middle one is the ground floor, and the one on the right is the second floor. The yellow gold shaded area, that is the area of the accessory dwelling unit in the basement. And the purple is the main and second floor. The purple in the basement plan, that's actually the mechanical room for the upper units. So if we could go to the next slide. And this is how it works. So on the right there, you see the foyer as you walk into the house. So you actually walk into a common foyer right at the front. On the right-hand side, there's a door with a landing behind it that goes down the stairs into the ADU. The door on the left-hand side goes into the ground floor of the main unit, and then you're in your house on your main unit. So fairly straightforward. Next slide, please. And this is a color-coded mock-up of what's in the basement. So at the back of the house is the bedroom. So that's sort of, I don't know what color that is. Brown. That brown one at the top of the screen at the back, it's got a large window that enables egress in case of emergency. It's easy to get out of that window. Also gives a lot of light to the unit. To the left of that, the yellow area is the bathroom. It's a full 3-piece bath. Moving towards the front, the light powder blue area, that's your kitchen. The purple area to the right of it is your living area. The yellow area, that little box in the middle, that's actually your laundry. And that is the laundry, right? Can't remember. My eyes are... that's the electrical, okay. And behind, where's the laundry? It's the green to the green, okay, yeah. My eyesight isn't that good. So the green area is your laundry room. So you have your own laundry room with a washer dryer tank and a tub. And then you have a work closet, front hall closet, we call it, at the bottom of that purple area. You can see it sort of in the middle, a little closet notched out there. And then a little work from home area where you could put a desk and a computer. And then behind that, the white area actually belongs to the upper unit, which is the mechanical for the upstairs. So they're completely separated HVAC systems for the two units. They'll be separately metered, both units, and it provides an enclosed living space. And you get to the unit by, you can see the little white piece on the right-hand side in the middle. That's your staircase coming down into the unit. Next slide, please. And that's basically it. It's an attempt we're making across the board, across the province, to bring in less expensive housing in the form of townhouses, but also bring in rental worker housing in the forms of the ADUs. Our guess, we don't know, but our guess is the ADUs will probably rent between $1,000 and $1,200 a month. The market will decide, or as I said before, it could be used as an in-law or a suite for another relative. And the upstairs, it does a few things for the upstairs dweller, the person who owns the unit. It increases affordability by giving them a rental stream. It also, the chartered banks will count up to 75% of the income from the basement towards your mortgage test. So it actually helps you qualify for your mortgage for the unit. So you've got an income coming in, but it also helps you qualify in the first case for the mortgage. And we're looking forward very much to building these here. As I say, we've started building them in St. Thomas. We've had a great response to them, and we think it's not the only solution. It's not the silver bullet to fix all the housing problems we have in the province, but it's a piece of it, we think. And it'll cater to certain types of people in certain income levels who otherwise might not be able to access the market. So that's all my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions that council or staff might have.
Thank you very much, Russ. That's really good. We'll just go through a couple more procedural things, and then we'll come back as a team and ask you questions. So you can sit down for a minute, or you can stay there. You can do whatever you feel like.
I'll sit down. I'm getting old.
Okay, we'll be back to you. Thank you. Okay, does anybody in the audience wish to make a comment, ask a question, or address committee with respect to the application? Questions may be directed to or responded to by the applicant, their agent, or staff, but should be addressed through the chair. Please remember to complete and submit your delegation. I'll ask once, I'll ask twice, I'll ask 3 times, and that would be it. So at this point, members of our committee, would they like to ask some questions? So, Your Worship, go ahead.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look at that, I get to go first this time. Thank you. A couple quick questions that I would have for Russ or your planner. I'm not sure, I can't see his name from here, but I see he's online with us.
It's Glenn Wellings, Your Worship.
Hello, Glenn. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, so a couple quick questions. These are obviously a little different for us here in the township, and I can see that I recognize your desire to build them because they seem to meet that need that seems to be available or in our community. So, talking about metering, you said the electrical metering would be separate, so their water metering as well would be separate? Is that what you're proposing?
Gas and electrical, water, remind me, are we doing separate watering or single watering? Separate, you think? We did separate in St. Thomas. In St. Thomas, it was separate.
Separate water metering, perhaps a common sewer, which would
Common-
probably make sense to
common
have a
sewer.
common sewer.
Yeah.
Right, but a separate water metering, which would be helpful as well.
Yep.
All right, that's one question. You had mentioned in your presentation, and I know our conversations have been about the parking lot. Maybe you could just brush that over again so that we understand that the parking lot units, the parking spaces, are attached to each of these units. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Worship, and my apologies, I didn't, I went over it and I forgot to come
Yeah,
back
so
to it. So
give you the
I'll
chance
give
to
you
answer
a 2 minute. Is it possible to put up the shot of the parking lot?
Just find that.
One of the slides and just fly through it. So parking is an issue. We expect that not all unit people who live in the basements will have cars because of the price point. If you need to rent an 1,100 square foot unit, cars cost almost that much a month if you're leasing a car and paying insurance and everything. So we would expect that many of the residents that are in the ADUs won't have cars, but some will because probably they have to drive to a job. So what we've come up with we think is a pretty neat solution. We created a parking lot that runs from Prescott to Mackenzie. There are 36 spots, actually. We have an extra one because it's an even number, and we have 35 units. But each of those parking spots will be in a condominium. The whole parking lot is a condominium. Keep in mind, the units on the street are freehold, but it'll be common elements condominium. So the individual houses, townhouses, will be parcels of tied land attached to the condominium. And each one of those spots will be assigned and owned by one of those 35 unit holders. So that means that the person who lives in the or people who live in the basement unit will have access to a parking space which is in very close proximity to where their unit is, and that runs with the land. So it's not transferable, you can't sell it, it belongs to that unit. So that unit will always have, in effect, 3 parking spots. It'll have the garage spot, the driveway, the tandem spot behind the garage in the driveway, and then a spot over here, and if it's not used, if they have a teenage kid who doesn't have a car living there downstairs, they've got an extra spot. If they have another car, if they have a guest or so on. So it gets the parking off the street and gets it into a parking lot on here, on the site.
Right, so if I can, through Mr. Chair, just to clarify then, this is a freehold unit that's going to be created, and it'll then have, as part of the ownership, a condominium agreement for a parking spot in the joint use of the parking lot. So there could be, in the future, some type of fees that they would have to be associated with having that parking spot. Is that correct? That's
Yes,
generally how a condominium works.
exactly, Your Worship. So we will be required, because it's a common elements condominium, we will be required to set up the condominium before we close the units. We can't close the units until the parking lot condominium is created. And there'll be a budget presented, which the purchasers will see when they buy it. Our expectation is the monthly fee will only be about $25 to $35 a month, because if you think about it, the only elements that the condo has is a bunch of asphalt, some line painting, a bit of landscaping. So there'll have to be a budget for snow removal. They'll have to hire a landscaper to come in and cut the grass, prune the trees, water stuff. It's spread over 35 units, so you know, it's about, the monthly charge is about the same for an hour in downtown Toronto in a parking lot.
Sure, if you had a parking spot to go see a Blue Jays game, you're going to pay twice that.
Exactly.
I get it. To me, it's not the value issue or the cost value. My concern is that the long-term maintenance on a facility like this, you know, when you have a freehold unit, and then if you were to sell that unit down the road, you sell it with the condo associated with it. So, you know, any purchasers down the road would have to be clearly understood from their realtor that they're also taking on that responsibility there too. So the condo will need to create a level of funding to re-asphalt it in 25 years. I mean,
That's correct.
It'll have to create a fund, it'll have to create a maintenance budget because somebody could drop something on the parking lot causing a big hole and you're gonna need a repair, or these type of things could happen in a public space parking lot. So, and then I guess the other aspect too is you can also end up with derelict vehicles and enforcement issues that our bylaw department may be involved in. You know, somebody abandons a car there or something like that. So these type of things do happen in parking lots, garbage gets collected, that kind of thing. So I just want to make sure that it's well understood in how you create these units, that, you know, the public who are going to be purchasing these have all that revealed to them clearly, that it's not that somebody else is responsible for the parking lot. They're all responsible for the parking lot cooperatively. Correct?
Correct. It's actually a little simpler than that, actually, because the parking lot's actually not, you don't own your spot. You have the rights to that spot,
Right.
and they're designated. But the condominium corporation, which is all 35 unit owners, will run it, and that will have a board of directors. And enforcement, if somebody puts a car on blocks in there, it'll be in the bylaws of the condo that you can't put a boat there, you can't put a car on blocks or a derelict car, and it'll be the condo corp who will have the teeth through the condominium agreement to enforce that and have cars towed, removed, whatever. And the nice thing is too, they can add it to the cost of the condo fees that someone pays and put you in default on your condo fees. So there are mechanisms within any condominium to enforce this. So it doesn't go on to the township, it goes on to the condo corp.
It's new to us, and I think that this is going to be perhaps seen more in the future too. So congratulations on bringing it forward. I look forward to the report from our staff, and thank you for answering the questions.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go this way first, to my right. Councillor Deneen, you have a question? Turn your mic on.
Condo fees, a portion of the condo fees go into a fund for capital expenditures always, and it's an automatic thing with a condo corp. I was concerned about the parking as well, accessibility, accessible parking spots, and visitor parking. I was wondering about visitor parking. There's nothing for that, really. If you have somebody, they're going to park right in front of the unit if the people have two cars. Some condo corps and condominiums have visitor parking as well.
Yeah, it's if I may, it's a little different being a parking lot condominium. We've obviously built lots of communal condominiums. We've got them in Collingwood, we've got them in the Blue Mountains locally, and we're very familiar with the requirements for visitor parking. This is a little different in that this is extra parking for an underground unit. If we didn't have the underground units, we wouldn't have the parking lot, and there wouldn't be any visitor parking either. So all we're doing is creating one spot for the underground dweller, but there's just as if we got rid of the parking lot, filled it with more townhouses, and didn't have any basement units, you wouldn't have any visitor parking. It's a little different in the sense that the condo is just a parking lot. It's not the buildings themselves.
I can appreciate that, and it's good to have this. I was trying to count the parking spots from the pictures. Just a clarification, there's only one window in the ARUs? Only
Yeah.
the one window of egress?
Except on the end units, they have two.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have your staircase down is your way in, and if you got to get out the back, you can get out the window. The ones we built in St. Thomas, the windows are quite large. They've got a deep well in them, so they're, I don't know, how the 42 inches, I think, in height, the units, so the windows, so they're quite wide. They're wide enough, and it's by code, slide the window across, and a fully grown adult can easily step out of the window, into the window well, and then out onto the grass if they have to get out and the staircase is blocked.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Beelan, go right ahead.
Yeah, my question was about parking as well, but my first question, but you have 36 parking spots, 35 units, you've got one for a guest then?
Yeah, I think it's for the mayor, actually. It's the mayor's
My
spot
second
as well.
question was, It looks like you have an exit on Highway 7. Is that correct?
County Road 7, County Road.
County Road 7, I mean.
Ultimately out of the subdivision at some point in the future. This is in the north part of the.
Yeah,
right in
I'm
the
just
middle.
wondering if that's going to cause a problem on 7. What does the county say about that? Or would you just have a right turn on 7? It shouldn't matter. To me, it looks like you should all have all the traffic coming out.
The county will have already commented on this, the whole plan already, so however they do it, Russ, I don't.
Well, the exit for County Road 7 won't be built for years.
Years to come.
We have we have the 2 entries off Mowat Street, Junction Road
Yes.
and Prescott, and then we have the lights at the
Exactly.
McDonald's.
That's where I thought people should be going then.
Well, they
rather than
probably,
up 7.
I don't know why they would go to 7.
Well, if they're going to the beach.
Well,
I just
eventually,
asked
Marty,
her to
it will
put it
be
up
an
here on the
access.
screen so you can sort of
Yeah,
see.
you can see. The 7 entry is sort of, Junction Road will ultimately go across and hit 7 down there.
We're not at County Road 7 yet anyways,
We're-
Marty.
Okay.
We're not there yet. This is all straight in from what they've done already, so. Okay, you good with that, Marty? Councillor Walker, did you have words of wisdom?
Yeah, just making sure your windows are large enough for a fully mature individual like myself, and not like some of the smaller ones that are out there in the world. The other question I have is I'm a little concerned with regards to the entrance to the mechanical room. If I'm the owner, is that going to create a problem for me if I have to get down into my mechanical room and I have to go through somebody else's apartment? That was just my concern about that, that's all.
Yeah, we have talked about that. Obviously, it's best to put the mechanical rooms and the furnace and everything in the basement. Because they own the unit and the renter will be a tenant of theirs, they'll have a key to the tenant's unit. They'll have to put in their lease that we have at reasonable times. We're able to come down or at any time in point of emergency. Hopefully, they'll knock first and head down. But there's really nowhere else to put the mechanical room. You've got a furnace and all that, and it's the right place to put it. Yeah.
Just concerned that, because you've got mechanical room, you've got filters, you've got other things to look after and change in your furnace and stuff, et cetera, and that's on a regular basis. So to go into, if it's a family member, it's not near as bad, but if it's not, then you're infringing on somebody's rights in somebody's building. So
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about that entranceway, that's all.
Yeah, it raises an interesting point. I'm going a little off script here, but the other thing the nice thing about ADUs is the landlord's on site for the tenant. And so sometimes with tenancies, there's a problem if the tenants are problematic or leave garbage or what have you, or noise or whatever. Because in almost all cases, the landlord is going to be living upstairs. They're going to be more careful about their selection of their tenants in the basement and make sure they're quiet and orderly and fit into the neighborhood.
You're good. Thank you. Councillor MacArthur.
Yeah, Councillor Walker brought up, that was a concern of mine too, about the entrance. I think you covered that. Just wondering price point compared to your single dwelling homes, kind of a price point do you think these will sell for?
So, obviously as much as we can get, but in this if I were to take the market today, so if you think we have a 2,200 square foot single right now in the subdivision, there are many on the market. There are half a dozen or 8 on the market right now. Those that sell the singles between about 700 and 740,000, let's say. That's sort of the range that the 2,000 plus square feet is selling for. And that would be either a 3 or 4 bedroom traditional layout, 2-car garage. In order to sell these against those product, to make them cheap enough, we think they will need to be low 6s, high 5s to make it work. So 6, maybe a range of 580 to 620 is what we're thinking and then you're 100,000 or more cheaper than a single family house. Anyone who could buy the single probably would. But again, we're reaching down to try to get the people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford to live here and making it possible by building a smaller unit, again, with a rental unit that adds income to pay your mortgage.
And second question for Nick, just wondering about the setbacks from, or the changes for the setbacks out front with the porches and all that stuff. Do you think that's doable?
Thank you through the chair to Councillor MacArthur. Yeah, I think what you'll see in actually our new comprehensive zoning bylaw is we're looking at changing some of those setbacks as well, like significantly, right? So in terms of townhouses, these will end up being like encroachments in our new zoning bylaw, but yes, I think it's doable. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Broderick, any words of wisdom? Can I get the final word then? I'll throw it back at we'll call you Nick tonight, Rosalind, whoever you want to be. Looking at the drawings, the concept drawings, I'm always throwing the word out, can I park out an F-150 in the driveway? And is there going to be, is it going to be urbanized on that side of the street, or where do they perceive the sidewalks being?
That might be actually a question more for Russell, but I'm not certain that that's even been planned out at this point. If I look at the air photo, it looks like there's actually sidewalks on the north side of that street coming in, so that will definitely carry through. And I don't know if the draft plan shows the actual sidewalks or not, but.
Would you know, Russ, is that?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, and Derek or Rosalind correct me, but the setback from the property line to the garage is 6 meters. So you can park an F-150. So you've got 6 meters to the property line. Usually you have another foot to the sidewalk. You have a little bit of grass because the sidewalk isn't right on the property line. So you'd have 6 meters plus a foot, so 21 feet in length.
And are you suspecting the sidewalks being on that side as well, or
I
just on one side?
I should know this because there'll be a continuation of the existing ones, and I just drove through there.
Sorry, so it is on the north side of that, whatever, is that Prescott at the top?
Prescott's up in the top, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it'll continue along there, but not, say, on the south side of Prescott, so.
Okay, not on the south side, so, okay. No, it makes, well, as long as we have enough room for parking F-150s, that's all I care about, so. Anyway, Russ, you remember those words, F-150.
Yeah.
I have too many vehicles. Anyways, okay, with that, is there any other comments, questions from anybody? Want to tweak anything? Good, nope, okay, thank you. So this will, thanks Russ, appreciate that. This concludes the public meeting with respect to zoning bylaw amendment for file 2026-022 regarding the Estates of Clearview draft plan of subdivision. We thank all who attended and provided comments for their interest in this matter. All input received with regards to this proposal will be fully considered by staff in their recommendation and by council in the decision with respect to this application. A report regarding this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future date. And seeing as how there are no other public meetings on the agenda for tonight, Your Worship, you get the mic again.
All right, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Council, we have 2 more items on our agenda. The first is the confirmatory bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2654, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the July 29, 2026 council meeting, be presented and read first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 29th day of July 2026. Mr. Beelan? Thank you. Mr. MacArthur? Thank you. Any questions on the confirmatory bylaw? Seeing none, I'll call it. All those in favor? Bylaw carries. And then the last item, of course, is our motion to adjourn. I just want to remind everybody, of course, that Thursday is Music Market in Parket. Friday is Market at Brentwood. Is that right? And Saturday is Market at Station on the Green. So it's a busy time for markets in our community. Motion to adjourn. Madam Clerk, the time is 6:13 p.m. Motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Denis. Thank you. All those in favor? This meeting